It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in The Two Saints Show. The Two Saints Show here on Fiesta FM. Tune in every Thursday 12 till 2 for informative football chat and great tunes.
Disclaimer, this show is for entertainment only and not meant to insult or defame anybody in any way or form. These are just our views. These are not the views of Fiesta FM or its management or sponsors.
Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Two Saints Show today with myself, Mark C, and my co-host, Mark H. Hello, Mark. How you
doing? Good to see you again.
And you, mate? Good, thanks.
Looking forward to today's show, getting stuck into some meaty topics and giving strong opinions.
So coming up on the show today, we have Saints news, Project Restart, and news from other European leagues and Saints transfer news. Just another quick one from both of us on the Two Saints Show. We've got a Two Saints Show page on Facebook, Two Saints Show. If you're interested in the podcast version of the Two Saints Show, give us a message on our Facebook page and we can send you the podcast directly. And with the Saints news segment of the show.
The Two Saints Show here on Fiesta FM. Tune in every Thursday 12 till 2 for informative football chat and great tunes. It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in The Two Saints Show.
Right, everybody, welcome back. We're going straight into things with Saints news and young football fans given headsets to help vision. Matt Le Tissier exclusive. Victor Wanyama sad to leave Tottenham and Saints without trophy. Ronald Koeman, Netherlands manager in hospital. Martin Semmens quashes takeover rumours. Saints kit clash. And we will start off with young fans given headsets to help vision, Mark, which I thought was another really good initiative from the club. Absolutely fantastic to see him doing something positive again. Over to you.
Exactly. So basically, the good news keeps rolling in from the club, really. This was basically a brother and sister. And they've got vision problems. So the idea of the goggles or glasses, whatever you want to call it, is so that they basically can watch their heroes. Although I don't really like that word, but watch their football idols. Let's use that. Visually, which is great. Because obviously they couldn't do it before.
Absolutely.
And obviously, it's the initiative of the club. Right. I think a couple of the players were involved as well.
Yeah,
so hats off to them, obviously they weren't able to give the kids, the glasses or the goggles in the way that they wanted to, or the visor.
That's right.
Because I think they were going to do it before a game, but obviously with things the way they are, they had to do it another way. So, but again, great news from the football club, and the good news out of St Mary's just seems to be rolling on.
Absolutely. Very proud to be a Saints fan again. So, just a quick synopsis. The Iris Division device, which is basically glasses, they work by magnifying whatever the wearer looks at and clearly displaying the image in front of their eyes on a large screen. It's hoped the devices will help both youngsters with spatial awareness. Absolutely fantastic. Massively proud to be a Saints fan. Fantastic news. Right, on to our second topic, which is Matt Le Tissier. And it was an exclusive interview regards to why he never left Southampton and why he didn't get more England caps, Mark. My take on it was, unfortunately, he had a manager at England in Glenn Hoddle who we all thought would give Matt a chance and unfortunately didn't. Was he a little bit envious of Matt's talent? Maybe, maybe not, don't know. But Matt, he certainly deserved more England recognition and never left Southampton because he made it very clear he was absolutely adored by the fans. Looked at as an absolute godlike figure and deserved that tag and was happy where he was, being a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
Put his happiness before money. Fantastic. And nothing but respect for Le Tissier for doing that throughout his career, Mark. And the fact he was a one-club man, which you just don't see anymore. Over to you.
Well, my take on it is that basically he put his personal happiness before naked ambition. And it was to do with personal happiness. So, the thing is my take on it would be something similar, because I turn around and I say to myself, if you have contentment and you have genuine happiness in your own life, and you're not doing bad financially, then his general attitude was, why would I leave? you know, as you say, I'm adored by the fans and all the rest of it. Why would he leave? You know, he has his own personal contentment and happiness. So why would he want to leave the area?
Absolutely.
And, so that's from the club side. Internationally, for me it was appalling, mate. You know,
shocking.
I mean, Glenn Hoddle was his childhood idol. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is, if you look at the,
you know, if you go there a night with Matt, he always speaks highly of Glenn Hoddle. You know, so there's no bitterness or recrimination from his side of things. But
the thing is, for me, it's kind of the way he treated Matt regards to the France '98 situation. Because for me, Mark, I thought it was quite bad the way he got treated by Hoddle, in the fact that with the lead up to France '98, he obviously put him in the England B game. He played an absolute blinder, scored a hat-trick, and then he took a guy who barely featured all season for his club in Darren Anderton. And I thought, blimey, mate, are you trying to prove a point to Letizia? Were you trying to put him in his place or something? Because I thought that was absolutely shocking.
Yeah, I mean, all I would say about that was it was a game against Russia, you know, and I personally felt that he'd proved the point there.
Yeah,
and to be overlooked, given that they were both mercurial talents of their time, and for basically for Glenn to overlook him, it was criminal, considering how he was treated, you know, on the international stage.
Well, that's what made it even worse, wasn't it?
You would have thought that he would have gave him the opportunity, but there it is.
Yeah, that was, for me, that was just, it was even worse, wasn't it?
You know?
I don't know, very, very strange, that one, what I thought. So I think we'll probably move on from there, because we'll move on to our next topic, which was Victor Wanyama stating that he was very sad to leave Saints and Tottenham without any trophies. Well, you came close to it at Saints, Victor, but you could have stuck around and you probably might have won something with Saints, but you decided to go where you thought the grass was greener at Spurs, and you still ended up not winning any trophies, I'm afraid. Yeah. Which is a real shame. He was our midfield enforcer, fantastic player for us, I thought. And as I say, thought fantastic player for us, and I was sad to see him go.
All I would say is, because obviously we're just interested in the Saints angle. I mean, he did have two opportunities, as I've seen it.
Yeah.
One under Pochettino in the FA Cup when they played Sunderland, and Pochettino decided to put out what I would term an understrength team, but probably a team that he felt would get the job done.
Yeah,
I have to admit, I have a lot of resentment towards that, because, you know, as I say, we left the stadium at 4:00 in the morning for to get up to Sunderland. I think it was a 12:15 kickoff or something like that.
Yeah,
because it was on BT Sport or something, and you know, to get up there and then to find the lineup that he had chosen, it was seriously disappointing, Mark. You know, we lost the time, we went out, and you know that would have put us into the last state of the FA Cup. You know,
absolutely.
So there was an opportunity there, and then similarly under Koeman, there was an opportunity. We got to the quarterfinals, the League Cup, and Sheffield United put us out at Bramall Lane.
Yeah,
and again, you know. All right, this time round, there was one or two injuries that Ronald had to, you know, contend with. And again, he sort of put out a team that he felt would get the job done, but it massively backfired, you know?
Yeah.
You know, Victor wasn't the most prolific of goal scorers. I mean, I think I was at the game at Swansea when he scored his first goal for Saints. But, you know, the thing is, again, maybe if he had stuck around, you know, there might have been a bit more joy there. But
absolutely,
the grass is always greener at the bigger clubs.
Yeah, they always think that, don't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that for me, in summary, sad to see him go. But as I say, and you said as well, he felt the grass was greener at other clubs. Somebody else who obviously moved on from Saints to pastures greener, in his opinion at the time, Ronald Koeman. Moving on to our story here. Very sad to hear that Ronald Koeman, the Netherlands manager, was in hospital with chest complaints. He actually underwent a successful cardiac catheterisation. That's a bit of a mouthful. But we're led to believe he's at home and doing well, and I believe, Mark, that you can update us on that situation.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you must have seen the post on social media.
I did.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
He was, funnily enough, you wouldn't have thought he was having heart problems 5 days previous, because he looked bright as a button.
He did. He did.
So, it must have been pretty severe for, obviously, the paramedics and that to be called and be taken into the hospital. But, like any decent Saints fan out there, just relieved that, he's recovering. And as I say, he looks a picture of health.
Absolutely.
And anytime he wants to come back onto the South Coast and manage Saints, he's more than welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to see him back there, to be fair. Thoroughly enjoyed the football we got to watch under Ronald Koeman. I think we were quite spoilt, to be fair. And he brought in some good players. He brought in the likes of Pella, he brought in the likes of Tadic, brought in Cuco Martina, who's probably scored one of the greatest goals I've ever seen at St Mary's. We all remember that goal fantastically. Yeah. Cuco might not have done a huge amount in the Saints shirt, but I'll tell you what, I remember him for that goal. It was an absolute stunner, wasn't it, against Arsenal? Yeah. Outside of his right foot, long way out, carried it in. I thought it was fantastic. And I just thought the football we played under Koeman was outstanding. So yeah, I'd love to see him back, Mike.
I mean, in the recent Premier League era, when I say recent, we're talking about the last, few years.
Yep.
And he bought the best player in recent years that I've seen play in the Saints shirt in Sadio Mane.
Yeah.
Because that lad, he would bring you to your feet.
Oh, absolutely.
And how I struggle to stand.
Yes, absolutely.
But when he was on the ball and he was doing his stuff a lot of the times, I was jumping up like Lazarus,
Yeah, it's nice one, Sadio. You even got Mark on his feet.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I mean, he was one of those players that just got you on the edge of the seat.
Trust me, that's a rare thing.
Yeah. No, he's like you say, you're absolutely right. I mean, like Letizia, he's one of those players that got you on the edge of your seat. Got you jumping up out your seat, because some of the stuff he did was just almost rude, wasn't it? Borderline rude. The stuff he did was phenomenal. Turn players inside out. But yeah. So moving on from there, obviously there was a rumour circulating that Robert Kraft of the New England Patriots, with a personal fortune of $6 billion, was interested in taking over Saints systems, according to a report on Sky Sports, saying that he wanted to purchase Jia Shangao's 80% stake in the club. Martin Semmens obviously came out, quashed the rumour, said, "I talk to Mr. Gow and Katerina every week, never discussed this with me. I don't think it's going to happen. Read the report about the US interest, and if you read it again, there's no fact in it and no detail that's correct." That's what he's come out and said. We can only take him at his word, and we'll wait and see with bated breath whether anything develops. But I think, as you said yourself, Mark, if there was a bleep machine for this show, you'd probably say exactly what you thought about it. And it's a non-goer, isn't it?
It is, mate. I mean, the thing is I had a look at the article again, right?
Yeah.
And there's no substance or anything that's substantiated in the actual article or the report,
Yeah, I've reread it myself, and I have to agree.
And as I said to you, the other day, the thing about Robert Kraft is, there was there was something that he said a few years back, right, when he was asked about, interest in buying, as they call it, a soccer club.
Yeah.
And he categorically turned around and said that he had no interest in football whatsoever.
Yeah.
The hope would be that, you get taken over by someone who actually has a vested interest in the sport.
Yeah, but that's right.
We're just going to have to wait and see. I mean,
yeah,
it's one of those.
It is.
But like you, I've even on reflection of having read the article again, I just think it's a non-starter. And I know that people a lot of the time, and I'm guilty of it myself, you kind of swear by Sky Sports whenever they get these stories out there. But the simple fact of the matter is, Mark, is they get things wrong as well.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair, you and I have been around the club long enough. I think you and I have been around the club long enough and know enough people around the club and have seen enough people around the club to know that a lot of our fans sadly would have seen that and thought, oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for you and I, we both know better now, don't we?
Yeah.
And obviously doing this show's opened our eyes a little bit more, I think, to be fair.
Yeah.
So we're in a unique position of having probably a little bit more knowledge than most people do, only purely and simply because of the nature of what we do now. But yeah, so sadly, I think a few people would have got carried away with that and thought, oh, fantastic. But I think you and I have become a little bit more pessimistic of late, with good reason, to be fair. So moving on from there, we're moving on to the Saints kit clash that's been going on. So fans have been voting in their droves across social media and email to decide the 4 finalists before choosing the winning kit. Now, I'm pleased to tell you the winning kit was actually the Admiral kit, the home Saints shirt, played in between 76 and 1980, worn by club legends like Mick Shannon and Alan Ball. Lucky enough to see both of them playing my first ever game at the Dow at 5 years old in 1977 versus Vancouver Whitecaps. Great game. Great to see the late, great Alan Ball playing alongside Mick Shannon. One of my favourite kits. First kit my mum and dad ever brought me as a child. Absolutely loved it. Over the moon that kit won. The other kits in contention for the win mark were the AAP kit, red and white stripes, Ricky Lambert, Morgan Schneiderlin, Adam Lallana. We all know the kit with the AAP on the front of it. The other kit was the Anders Svensson era Friends Provident red and white striped shirt.
Yeah.
The other one was the Pony Sanderson shirt, red and white stripes that Mark Hughes played in at the Dow. And I believe it may have been the first shirt James Beattie wore, possibly.
I've got to be honest and say about this, Mark, right?
Yeah.
What that, I mean, the rightful winner won, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is the classic Saints shirt.
Absolutely.
And I don't care what era you come from, right? You know, luckily for us, it was probably the first shirt that we had, okay? Yeah. But you know, what I would say about it is when you look at the opposition, or the other 3 that were shortlisted for it, right? It blows the opposition out of the water.
Oh, 100%.
And rightfully, that was the shirt that won the poll. But what I would say is I do think it was a poor choice of runners and riders for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, there was no Air Florida sort of rank Xerox.
I'm absolutely staggered. That wasn't one of the fan favourites. That staggers me.
Because that should have, one of those should have been in there somewhere.
Well, I was under the impression that was a massive fan's favourite. So I obviously called that one wrong.
and the 100, you know, as I've said before, the
125th
anniversary shirt should have been in there somewhere.
Well, let's not forget, we wore that when we got promoted.
That to me was a plain but classic design.
Let's not also forget that. Let's not forget also that was the shirt we wore when we got promoted.
Yeah.
So you know that was one of our promotion-winning shirts. So that in itself deserves to be in there. So anyone that is interested, they will be recreating the shirt.
It was one of the club's founding shirts, you know. Yeah, I mean, you know, so I don't know why it wasn't in there.
Anybody listening in on the pod or on the show today that wants to know about it, basically it will be available in the Saints store, and they will be creating this shirt and other fan favourites over the coming months. So we'll look forward to seeing what they come up with, I think. But I will certainly be winging my way down to the stadium store, if possible, if we get the chance, so I can actually invest in one of those. So moving on to that, there was another topic that we were going to cover.
Right, so the story...
I think Mark's got the story, to be fair.
The story is about Southampton-born, but represents Nigeria, Mr. Akinfenwa.
Olanfenwa.
Akinfenwa.
Yeah, Olade Olanfenwa.
Olafunwa.
You got it.
Anyway, so young Olafunwa has been offered a new contract, and all I would say to you is of the ones recently that's coming through, so sort of after with the Will Smallbone and Vokins, he's probably, you know, the best of the bunch. You know, like I said to you the other day, you know, you can forget about Kane Ramsey and all that, because this lad is much better. He can play right back, he can play centre half, And again, it's good news that the football club's tied him down to a new contract. And also, from my point of view, he may be looking to represent Nigeria because of the parents, but he's Southampton born. So hopefully, in the longer term, he sees his future at the football club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than staying here for a couple of years and then being moved on to a bigger club,
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm quite happy to see him do that, Mark. I'm over the moon about that. As you say, he's one of the better prospects up and coming through the ranks. So look forward to seeing how his career develops.
Yeah.
Right. I think we've come to the end nicely of our first section of the show today. And when we come back, we'll be getting into the Project Restart links, which is obviously the start of the Premier League season or possible restart of the Premier League season and other European leagues. So we will be back after this.
The Toussaint Show here on Fiesta FM. Tune in every Thursday 12 till 2 for informative football chat and great tunes. It's Mark C and Mark H.
So Southampton's chief executive says it would not be appropriate for the Premier League to plan an immediate return and insists that recent talks are focused on long-term strategies designed to protect the clubs. This obviously relates to the possible restart of the Premier League. At Premier League video conference on Friday, clubs reiterated a commitment to resuming the season when safe and appropriate to do so. Martin Semmens of Southampton FC said, "No one's talking about playing now. It's not appropriate now. No one's suggesting we will play now. But we have to plan for how we'll bring our business back. Otherwise, there'll be no business and no football club. Shut the season down, none and void it." I've said this before, Mark said it before. I'm not getting into politics, but that's my take on it. Mark?
But basically, I think he's right to basically say nobody's saying that, the season restarts now. I think that it's going to come down to crunch times over this weekend. Obviously, the government statement on Sunday. And then I think there's going to be a decision made by the clubs on the Monday, because they've moved. They were going to have a meeting this Thursday, but obviously when they heard that Sunday there was going to be the discussions, they moved their meeting to Monday. My only concern is that I hope that in these discussions, the players have been involved, because it's all right, all the hierarchy sitting there and going, yeah, we're taking all this on board, but they have to have the players on board for it to happen,
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I think we'll move on to our next topic, which is the fact that Brighton are not in favour of finishing Premier League season at neutral venues. So obviously the next story we're going to follow up with and include as well is also the fact that Aston Villa are also not in favour of finishing the season at neutral venues. And interestingly, both teams are in the bottom three, Mark.
Yeah, so we're gonna do two articles in one hit here.
Yeah.
Basically, the cynic in me says both teams are in the bottom three. I understand that they don't want to lose their home advantage and stuff like that, but let's be honest. Their form, home or away, hasn't been that clever. So you can't, the chairman at Aston Villa came out and said, we don't want to lose home advantage because our home form's good. Our home form's good. We're sitting there thinking, really?
Was it 2 home wins this season, isn't it?
And I was a bit, I have to admit as well, I was a bit surprised that Paul Barber at Brighton actually coming out and saying that he wasn't in favour of neutral venues. I mean, to be honest with you, Mark, there's a lot of ass covering going on because people don't want to get relegated at the end of the day, But we can't have, the all I would say is the fixture list is congested enough. We certainly what we don't want at the start of next season is a 23-team league.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. You can't have a 23-team league. That's silly. People complain there's too much football already.
Exactly.
People that follow football don't, but yeah, it's just for me, it's a nonsense. Anyway, moving on from there. So, Premier League, more clubs are open to using neutral venues if relegation is removed. Oh, what a surprise. I wonder who those teams could be. Would it be the bottom 6 by any chance, including Aston Villa and Brighton? Oh, yeah, it probably would be.
Absolute shock for this, because I mean, look, I'm not, as we've stated before, we're not in favour of a restart, right?
Yeah.
But if there is a restart, right, there has to be something on it. You can't play out.
Yeah.
What is the point in playing out a completely neutral season with nothing on it? So the only thing that's really going to be decided then is the European places, and there's going to be no relegation. What a load of nonsense!
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the point in completing the season if there isn't something on it?
Well, I mean, this is a very telling statement where it says, those near the bottom are concerned playing matches at neutral stadiums behind closed doors with the ongoing uncertainty with availability of players will make for a vastly different situation to that which their first 29 fixtures this season were played. They argue it's impossible to uphold the integrity of the competition under these circumstances. Stop the absolute rubbish. You don't want to get relegated, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, no, that again, right? It's like the Premier League and the clubs, right? Again, if we come back to the same common denominator, money.
Yep.
Yep,
absolutely.
But anyway, moving on.
Crazy. So yeah, Premier League looking for a May the 18th training return, but club doctors are expressing concerns over Project Restart. So basically the Premier League are not listening to the doctors, they're not listening to the government, and they're saying, we're going to restart the season anyway. Well, I guess as long as all the players are wearing masks and oxygen tanks, they'll be fine.
Well, all I would say is it's disappointing that the Premier League and the clubs aren't even listening to their own doctors or listening to what the Premier League doctor, because these are appointed doctors for the Premier League, and the Premier League and the clubs aren't even listening to their own doctors. But
obviously not going to get into all the politics or anything, Mark, because I think we've talked enough politics on the show this year, unfortunately.
Exactly.
But what I will say is the same thing you said. It'll only take one death.
Yeah.
And then the whole landscape will change then.
100%, and we've seen that early doors, Mark, because as soon as nobody was willing to make a decision about football until Arteta came out and said that he tested positive. As soon as he came out and said that was the game changer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, the next story, this actually came from the Mirror and actually says Premier League stars could refuse to return to playing. So they could actually hold the key to whether the football season restarts, and they could actually end up vetoing the whole thing. Clubs obviously will be talking to their players about it, but the Professional Footballers Association, League Managers Association are to be consulted. It's understood the outcome of those talks will decide whether the Premier League may push on or feel they can push on. Mirror understands player welfare is a big topic of discussion and will evolve into the biggest issue. Well, obviously, Sherlock, it's not a silly thing to say that, is it? And of course it's going to be the biggest issue. And players have major health concerns for themselves, but also the knock-on effect for their families and their loved ones.
Yeah, and
there are likely to be question marks over whether they'd even be covered by insurance if they get coronavirus.
Yeah, that's the big one for me, because obviously the players will want to make sure that they're covered, financially or insurance-wise and stuff like that. But, I mean, I think it would be crazy that if the clubs haven't been consulting the players each step of the way, it's all right turning around and saying, okay, we've got these plans in place, but it's no good unless they've got the players on board with it. And not just the players, the support staff and everybody else that's going to be required to be there.
Yep. Sergio Aguero's come out and made a statement. Glenn Murray said something, but Aguero basically said the majority of players are scared because they've got family, children, babies, parents. It does scare me. I've just been here with my girlfriend, haven't had contact with other people, and they say that to contract the disease is very rare, difficult. But they say that there are people who have it and they don't have symptoms and they can infect you. And that's the thing. They don't know who's infected and who isn't. They're on about testing them twice a week. Well, that's great. But as he says, majority of players are scared because they've got family and children and parents.
100%.
What are you even thinking about resuming the season? It's not safe to do so. You shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
And I think we should be following the lead of the Dutch League. Is it the Dutch League? Where they've basically said...
The Dutch League basically announced, the health minister in Holland actually announced that there won't be any live sport in the country, or there won't be any live football matches, or people going to football matches, or even football being played in the country until there's a vaccine.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid I think that's a very sensible decision.
So do I.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it seemed a good idea to include that article in obviously what we're covering at the moment, because obviously it was all related to the pandemic. Moving on to the next topic, Football Association Chairman Greg Clark said it's hard to see fans returning to matches anytime soon. Well, again, it's not rocket science, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, I'm going to be very brief on this one. I mean, I have no intention of returning to St Mary's until it's safe to do so. I mean, look, people have choices. Don't get me wrong, and I'm pro-choice. You know, if you wanna take the risk while there is no vaccine of returning, and you think it's adequately safe, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But you know, again, it's down to personal choice. But I personally won't be doing it until there's a vaccine.
Yeah, and obviously, LMA chairman has basically come out and said 2019-20 Premier League season could be cancelled if clubs don't agree to play in neutral venues. So no major shocker, and if it does get cancelled, I'd say it's probably the right decision at the end of the day.
I think when we spoke about this before, Mark, I think we're both agreed that come Monday it's going to be a very close vote.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think I'm right in saying that they need 14 clubs to carry it.
They do.
Have they got 14 clubs on board? You know, are the sort of the bottom reaches going to be able to bring other teams on board? You know, the other thing that's interesting, we haven't sort of spoke about the elephant in the room was, you know, when we broke up, we weren't particularly playing well.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
You know, personally, we probably need another two wins and a point to be extra safe.
Well, in a way, you could argue that it's probably been a good thing for Saints in a way, Mark, that the season kind of did stop when it did, because we were on a bit of a downturn of form, aren't we? So maybe this break's been a good thing from the Saints' point of view, because obviously we were, as you say, we certainly weren't out of it.
And of course,
still looking over our shoulders.
With Norwich that Saturday, that was the proverbial 6-pointer, because you win that.
Absolutely.
You know, and you're away from it, but you lose it, and you're slap bang in the middle of it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
So it's obviously had an impact on the EFL clubs as well. And according to a finance expert, he's basically saying that EFL clubs have been taken out at the knees. So basically, EFL clubs have been kneecapped by the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean,
it could be worse off, is what I would argue.
The thing is, mate, is the clubs from the English Football League are in no man's land, okay?
Yeah.
Because effectively they've said that they want to finish the season, right? But I haven't heard anybody speak about a roadmap for the clubs in the Football League for to be able to finish the season. So at the minute they're in limbo, which obviously adds to the financial pressures that are already on the clubs because of turnover and having to pay people's wages.
Absolutely.
In the article, he speaks about 2 clubs that are obviously lower down, and they haven't been paying the players since March.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And you wonder how that's going to be sustainable, because if you're a player, you're sat there going, well, my contract's being broken here because I'm not being paid.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So moving on to another topic, I know Mark's been really looking forward to this one. League One, Paris Saint-Germain were awarded the French league title as the season was declared basically suspended due to the coronavirus. I obviously stated that Paris Saint-Germain had been awarded the title because the season had ended. Oh, no, Mark said, you're wrong. What Mark didn't realise, and I hadn't obviously realised that Mark didn't know, was earlier that day, there was actually an article that Mark wasn't aware of that basically said they had been awarded it. So over to Mark now, who I believe has a statement to that effect.
Okay, so on our live, I'm going to apologise, foot in mouth, all the rest of it. You know, as I say, I wasn't aware of the article, and Mark was quite correct, people, and silly me, basically. So apologies.
It's not often I'm right about that.
Apologies to Mark. Apologies to the listeners. So there we go.
Thank you, Mark.
Obviously, for those that don't know, the French league was awarded to Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
And as I say, so effectively, there won't be any restart, as I was, because before that, the French authorities were saying that, hopefully it was going to restart in September. Yeah. They've decided at the end of the season, and the title's been given to Paris Saint-Germain.
That's right. So, that's that tied up. And thanks for the apology, Mark. As I say, not your fault. You're normally all over every single thing we cover. So you weren't to know that had obviously been earlier that day. And given it was a day we're recording, I can let you go on that one. Right, moving on to the next one.
Very generous of you, Mark. Very generous.
Generous to a fault. That's me. So, obviously, last one for this particular series of topics at the moment is Germany's Bundesliga is to resume this month, according to Angela Merkel, which I'm a little bit surprised at. Germany's sort of figures have been pretty much on a par with ours, haven't they? Yeah. So I'm a little bit surprised they're resuming.
I've got to say it is. I've got to say that they've had less deaths, mate.
Yeah.
I know the infection rate went up slightly whenever they, eased the restrictions. But then again, I think, if anybody's got a covered, it's probably the Germans. Yes, there is the danger that there's always that risk that players could be infected again. The decision's been made. It looks like the season's actually going to be resumed next Saturday, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely starting.
From what I've been reading, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there, because obviously, I don't want to get into the politics too much of it, but effectively, if you live in Germany, you can be tested if you want to be tested.
That's right.
It's a no-brainer. In this, there is a slight difference, because obviously you can get tested if you want to be tested in that country. In this country, we can't even muster 100,000 tests.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Unfortunately, they did hit the target of 100,000 tests by a specific date. Unfortunately, the 3 days after that, they didn't get anywhere near it. Exactly. It was 122,000 allegedly, and then it went down to 80,000 for the following 2-3 days. Yeah. So, it's not good enough, unfortunately.
Anyway, there is an additional article to the restart. And
Mark, he's all over it, so I'll hand over to him.
I'm going to cover it for you. So basically, the Daily Mirror are claiming that they've got hold of this 50-page dossier about restarting the Premier League, right? And in this dossier, they are basically saying that fans will be able to return to stadiums by October, which sounds absolutely ridiculous to me. I don't see madness. I don't see it at all. I know one thing: I won't be setting foot in a stadium in October. No. I don't care what's happening.
Right, if they say you can resume, I mean, if somebody says to me you're going to go to the stadium in October, I'll be like, yep, give me a full respirator, SAS style, and an oxygen tank, and I might think about going to the stadium.
I mean, I do have reservations, because obviously it's coming out of the one newspaper, and they seem to have a different slant on things every day, to be honest with you. So I don't know who's tipping them off about stuff, but it just...
all I can think, Mark, is if they're saying fans would be going back in October, all I can think is they're going to be handing out gas masks at the turnstiles.
Well, all I'm going to say is, and I don't ever use this word, but I'm going to use it in this instance. It is preposterous, right, to suggest that we're going to be going back into stadiums in October. Absolute madness.
But the thing is, with this whole pandemic, what it brought home to me was the fact of today being the 75th anniversary of VE Day. Brought home to me today the fact that all those people that fought for our freedom, our freedom's now been taken away by a pandemic.
Yeah.
And people are talking about football coming back in October. Are you not aware of what day it is, people? Does that mean absolutely nothing? Did victory in Europe mean nothing? Because at the moment, although it's VE Day, we're certainly not looking at victory in Europe at the moment, are we?
No. But anyway, look, we're gonna go off that.
Yep. So anyway, that's brought to the end of that section of the show.
The Toussaint Show here on Fiesta FM. Tune in every Thursday, 12 till 2 for informative football chat and great tunes. It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, They're here with everything in the Two Saints Show.
Hi there, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. So, moving on to our Saints transfer news link part of the show. Crystal Palace won a £17 million powerhouse, but they also face competition from Southampton. They're referring to Salihu Mete from Serie A. Torino is a defensive midfielder, obviously sort of player the Saints probably looking at in the event that Mario Lemina gets sold and that possibly Pierre-Emile Højbjerg ends up leaving.
Yeah, I think with those two, I've got to be honest. Surely it's on the cards that those two are leaving in the summer.
Yeah.
Saints aren't going to let Pierre's contract run down to nothing and him leaving the free in the summer. And similarly, with the noises that Mario Lemina's been making this week, they're not going to let that situation go on.
That's
right. I mean, we're going to come on to that because obviously there's an article about that. But yeah, I mean, I would say that this bloke should be recruited. And there should be the money there. If you take their two sales into consideration, the money should be there for him to be the able replacement for them.
Absolutely. So, moving on from that one. Arsenal fans have reacted to the fact that they feel that they're going to miss out on a £13 million player, and they predict he's probably going to have a future Liverpool move. Purely and simply because obviously it's a player that Saints are linked with, which is Reims defender Axel Disasi. 22 years old, I believe he is.
Yeah, again.
So Saints in for him. Looks like Arsenal may miss out, and we may get him.
Again, I would suggest with the number of people's contract, because I think it works out we have about 8 players whose contracts finish next summer.
Yeah.
Okay. So even on this basis, because there can't be that many that they're looking to renew. Okay. Yeah. And even last summer, we only renewed one contract, and that was Nathan Redmond's.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
So on that basis, I'm assuming that there's going to be a few people going out through the exit door. This is the crunch summer, and I'm going to say to you that with those people leaving, I would imagine that there is going to be enough money for this centre half and the right back.
Yeah.
And I personally would go with this centre half. I mean, both him and the central midfielder that we spoke about previously, they're both big and imposing, and I think and they both seem to be comfortable on the ball.
Yeah, and I would say, Mark, big and imposing is what we need, because how many times last season and this season did we say that we got bullied out of games? So they're exactly the mould of play we need, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So moving on from there, a Premier League move is on the cards for Lorient's Johan Visser, who's also a target for Watford and Championship West Brom. It could be interesting. 16 goals for a winger, and he's pretty rapid, actually. So he fits the sort of mould of player that Ralph Hasenhüttl likes, and he seems quite a prospect, Mark. And Saints are renowned for unearthing these little gems now and then, aren't they?
He plays for Lorient. He's buses of Congolese descent, obviously French, but he's of Congolese descent.
Yeah.
And very much in the same mould as a Sadio Mane or a Moussa Djenepo.
Yeah.
It's something I would like to see happen. It's my belief probably that to facilitate him coming to the football club, because I don't think it would be a massive fee, Mark, okay? No. And I think to facilitate him coming in, they're probably going to get rid of Sofiane Boufal.
Well, the thing is, if you're looking at a winger that's got 16 goals, you'd want him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's no mean feat for a winger, is it? 16 goals.
No. The thing is, as well, is, like I said previously, he's a target that's definitely within A, the remit, and B, within the price range, because I don't think we would be giving Lorient an absolute fortune for him.
No, that's right, absolutely right. So next article is relating to Southampton lead the race to sign star with 12 goal contributions this season. I believe this is Milo Rashica.
Yeah. So
obviously 12 goal contribution this season. Looks a bit like a Dusan Tadic type of player.
Yeah, he is very much so. The reason, because I obviously got the article here, but the reason why I think that this could also be a goer, and I do think that it'll be between him and Vasa about who actually gets the nod here, because I don't think we'd sign both. Okay,
no.
But the suggestion is that obviously with Milot playing for Werder Bremen, right? All I would say is there is the link there with Ralph, right? And Ralph would be keen to sign him. Obviously, he's from the Bundesliga. Yep. Okay. Now they're saying that 38 million euros is what his evaluation is, but apparently there's a release clause in the contract if Werder Bremen get relegated, where it drops down to 13 million.
Right. Okay.
So I'm assuming that the thought would be that obviously he's affordable on that basis, but there is a word of warning here, because it does say that Liverpool and Leipzig are both interested. And I'm afraid that if Liverpool are interested, you can kiss the sunny side about us being able to sign them. So we go back to Vassner again, or Vasa again at Lorient.
Yeah, we'll move away from that now as well. Saints wanted to sign Joachim Mahler in both the last two transfer windows. Genk turned us down. We're allegedly in for him again in summer. His evaluation's shot up from 7.5 million to 11.5 million. And we think it's probably too much money now, Mark, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's not even an article. I don't even know why I included it in the show, to be honest.
Probably because it's resurfaced again, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I would say is that, the director of football, or whatever you want to call him, at Ghent has obviously came out and said, right, that they don't want to lose him under any circumstances.
Yeah.
That's all well and good, but they haven't had an offer from either of the interested clubs.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, if an offer comes in, and even if it's way lower than what's being mooted for him, because I don't think he's worth that kind of money anyway.
Yeah.
Let's be sensible about our evaluations here.
Yep.
I've got to say that if Genk get an offer for him, the chances are they're going to accept it and he's going to be off. So for the director of football to turn around and say, "Oh, we're determined to keep him," when they haven't even had an offer for him, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on to the last story I've got in front of me. I don't know if Mark's got another one lined up. He might possibly have. But we're moving now on to the fact that Mario Lemina was signed by Saints for 18 million. Basically, subsidy requirements under Ralph Hasenhüttl, despite the fact that if Højbjerg announced us to leave, he could probably come back and forge a path for himself at Saints. But he's made it very clear. He's now being rated at 9 million roughly by Saints, we're led to believe. So they've apparently dropped the asking price and he wants out. My argument to that is if they give you 7 million for him, take it. Get him out of the building. Yeah. He's quite clearly made it clear he doesn't have a future at Saints. Well, as far as we're concerned, Mario, you don't. Off you go, mate.
There's only one word to sum this article up, and that's sell.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right? Because absolute bloody problem child. And I sit there and I kind of think to me, if he had been willing to come back, and because there was an opportunity, we now know that central midfield, there would have been an opportunity for him there.
Yep, absolutely.
And to behave in the way he has as well, you just sit there and you just think, sell, get rid.
Well, the thing is, people could argue that Buffon had a bit of an attitude adjustment and blah, blah, blah. And I would argue, yeah, he probably did. But to be fair, he's had an attitude adjustment, Safi and Buffon. He's quite clearly knuckled down in training or done something because Ralph's reintegrated him. 100%. And he's looked at different players. So, 100%. Mario quite clearly could have made the effort and he could have been reintegrated. Ralph's obviously shown he's willing to reintegrate players by what he did with Buffon. So for me, Mario Lemina, he's running his mouth off again. Shocker. Get him out of the building. The man's an absolute liability and it's not the sort of character you want in your dressing room. Just causes unrest in the squad and in the team.
Exactly. So anyway, to round off the transfer news, and indeed most of the show, we have the story that has resurfaced again about Mr. Guido Carrillo. Right? And apparently Boca Juniors, like last summer, have resurfaced and expressed an interest.
Yep.
Okay. The issue I have, Mark, is if you read the article, Southampton are still holding out for between 7 and 5 million quid, right?
Yeah.
And, not quid, US dollars you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3 words on that.
To me, they need to lower it to between 5 and 4 million.
Yep.
Yeah,
for me, there's 2 phrases that sum it up. For me, and both of them contain 3 words. The first one's get a grip, and the second one is drop the price.
The thing that I don't get is, right, so last summer they were talking about 10 million euro, 10 million US dollars, okay? Yep. Right. He's had another year. There's only a year left on his contract, right?
Yeah.
So how can they pitch it at 7 million?
Exactly.
His price is dropped by half.
Yeah.
He's already done the extra year, so he's only a year left on his contract.
Absolutely.
So how they can sit there and go, oh, we're looking for between 7 and 5 million dollars, absolute nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Nonsense. So you're working from the basis of 5 million's your top end, and probably $3.5 million dollars is your bottom.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I'd go with that. And again, it's another player that you just say, sell. Just get them off the books, free up the wages.
Exactly. Get them out the door. Get what you can for them.
I mean, as I said to you, I understand the club wanting to get money for players and stuff like that, but I think there's got to be a degree of realism. There's got to be a realisation that, look, you're going to have to take a financial hit to get these players off the books because you signed them for big money and they're on big contracts, but unfortunately you need them off the books. Now, if that means you've got to take a big loss on them, well, I'm very sorry, Southampton Football Club, you've got to take a big loss on them. You need these players off the wage bill and you need them out of the building.
The problem is with things like this is the club will always look to save face in these situations, right?
Well, unfortunately, they can't.
Whatever happens with Mario Lemina and Guido Carrillo, right?
Yeah.
There will be a spin on it, Mark. Trust me.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
The spin doctors will be out enforcing the club, trying to say, "Oh, we did well here out of a bad situation,"
No, I don't know a single Saints fan that would say that if they come out with that, and I think most Saints fans would be calling foul of that. To be fair, but that's it for me. I think we've pretty much covered every topic we had to cover on today's show, which has been fantastic. Loads of stuff to get into. Got our teeth right into that. It's been really good. Thank you as always, Mark, for doing your homework and sorting us out with some good info to go on and stuff to work from. So it's goodbye from myself, Mark.
The only thing I want to say is goodbye to everybody. It's goodbye from him. It's goodbye from myself. And all I would say is keep safe, keep well, look after each other. And, whatever you're up to, take care of yourself.
Absolutely. The only other thing to add from myself is if you would like a podcast version of the show that we're now doing, contact us on our Facebook page, Two Saints Show, and we can send you the podcast version of the show directly. Don't forget, we're also on Fiesta 95 FM. At the moment, we're on a Saturday afternoon, but our normal slot would be a Thursday, 12 to 2 p.m, hopefully when we go back once the lockdown's all over and done with, and it's safe to do so. So as Mark said, stay safe, everyone. Keep an eye on our Facebook page, Two Saints Show, for any updates, and we will be back hopefully next week. Bye from me.
Just message our Facebook page if you want the pod, people. Just message the Facebook page, Two Saints Show. Cheers. Bye for now.